After we had our eggs stripped of their shells using vinegar, but still with their membrane, they were soaked in different solutions. Apple juice, corn syrup, water with 3 drops of blue food coloring, and straight up water. The mass of the corn syrup egg was the least, as water was sucked out to try to create homeostasis in the corn syrup. And the mass of the egg in the blue food coloring and water happened to be the most, slightly more than the straight water. This next step may cause a little bit of mess. The egg in the water is under pressure because of the amount of water it's absorbed. As we poke the egg, you can see how that pressure caused it to pop open. I'm going to reach in now and just kind of pull up the membrane if I can. So here it is, the shell, the membrane of the egg itself, the yolk, and the white that has a lot of water in it. Our next egg is the apple juice egg. Again, there's going to be pressure in this from the juice that has been absorbed. So as we poke it, notice that, whoa, that the juice does start to spray out because of the pressure. The sugar is going to have a different reaction. And it did not just kind of pop like the one with water did. And we see the liquid start to ooze out of the egg itself. By the way, that is a foul odor. I'm a little hesitant to take this next action step. This is the egg that was in water that had blue food coloring. I am going to gently poke this, kind of see what happens with the egg. The same result that happened with the apple juice. We have a spraying fountain because of the pressure of the liquid inside the egg. And so that pressure is forcing the liquid out because we now have a hole and an opening. As we look at this blue food color egg, the membrane definitely took on that blue color. Staining it, it almost looks black. However, when we look at the egg yolk, the yolk itself still remained fairly yellow. However, the albumin or egg white did take on that blue food coloring. Our last egg is the egg in the Caro syrup. We should not, Caro syrup happens to be a brand name of corn syrup. We should not see that pressure explosion we've seen in the others, simply because so much of the moisture has actually been pulled through the membrane into the corn syrup to try to create that balanced homeostasis in the liquid. And so you'll notice that as I poke this, we don't have a display of fluid flowing out. When I pick up the egg that had been soaking in the corn syrup, you'll notice that where I have poked holes, I can force, and that with pressure I was able to force the egg white out. The egg white is a little bit denser than it might otherwise be. And then the membrane is kind of thick and tough. And if we look at the yolk, yolks traditionally when you shake them, when you scramble them, will start to break up because of the amount of corn syrup that, the amount of liquid that has been drawn from this yolk. The yolk itself is fairly solid. So as we look at this yolk, and if you were to do this experiment on your own, if you were to crack open the corn syrup egg and experience the yolk, you will discover that it is fairly solid because of the amount of liquid that has been pulled from it. And so as I squish it, instead of, and you can see the egg white on my hand a little bit, instead of actually coming as a yolk might and smushing, you can see it's solid, kind of gelatinous and gel-like. And that's partly because of the amount of water that went through the cell membrane of the egg, which is a cell.